So today is going to be the day that I start powder coating using the Eastwood Powder Coating System that I bought years ago. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm going to take you on this journey with me as I figure this stuff out. I actually primed these years ago, but some of the priming paint has come off and it's starting to rust. I'm going to try and get the rust off, and I don't know if primer is going to affect the powder coat or not. We're going to find out because I'm going to do one. I am going to wire brush the entire pedal, and then we'll do the powder coat and see how that comes out. So let's go ahead and finish this up. That one looks pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do is read the instructions, because there's a very specific set of steps that the Eastwood system wants you to follow. And the first is to bake this in the oven for some amount of time, but I got to look that up. So I went back and read the instructions again, and they did say that all the paint had to be pulled off. So I went back and stripped the rest of the paint. They want to do a prep before powder coating, and there's a couple things they want to do. The first thing they want to do is to clean the part. They have their own proprietary cleaner, but they also say you can use acetone. If you follow my other channel, 6 Round Studio, then you know that acetone is probably one of the most useful chemicals that I have in the wood shop or in the restoration shop. We use acetone for everything from cleaning oils out of wood to cleaning gun parts before we do any bluing process. So acetone is a very, very useful chemical for any kind of work, restoration or otherwise. You know, they're right. Look at how dirty that is. The next thing they want to do is they want to preheat the part, and what they want to do is burn off any contaminants, and it says to prevent pits from occurring, preheat the clean oven. This time the part needs to be preheated 450 degrees, 20 to 50 minutes, again depending on size. Once the part is cooled, you can use acetone again to clean it just before you apply the powder coating chemical. So let's turn around and get this oven up to temperature. So it's set at 450 right now. We'll set the timer for 20 minutes. That should be more than enough to get the oven temperature up to 450. And let's turn it on. And it's running. All right, we're going to install this into the oven, and we're going to let it preheat. And we'll do this another 20 minutes. So while that's preheating, I'm going to prep the powder coating gun and get that all ready to go. That's the ground to ground the part to the system. Boy, that'll give you a lot of room. Jeez. It'll be pretty close to the box. They offer 2 voltages. 15 and 220 or 25, 15 and 25. They recommend the 15 for 90% of all the powder coating things that you do, and that's where I'm going to start because I don't know better. And of course, this is the other side of the loop that makes the contact from the part. So it's negatively charged, and we need a complete loop, electrical loop, which is much like welding, I guess. So this is, let's say this is the positive, and this is the negative, I guess. Anyway, we're making that loop. So this is Eastwood's hot coat powder coating powder. Yeah, this is again a gloss black. They keep it in this bag, so I'm going to unseal the bag. I'm going to put some in here, and then that'll be ready to go. All right, let's get this set up and ready to go. So it wants to cool the part down. You don't have to, but it's suggesting that you cool the part down. So I'm going to open the oven door. I have to clean this one more time, and I'm not interested in holding on to that thing with it 450 degrees. So we're going to let this cool down just for a bit before we clean it again. It's actually kind of a nice toasty brown in there. All right. So Eastwood was very specific about the spray pressure that they wanted. They were saying between 6 and 10 psi. I had to turn this way down to get that pressure down that much. And I've got it set right now at 8 psi, which is right in the middle of what they're looking for. So let's see how this works. Eastwood's instructions are that they want you to wear gloves so that you don't get skin oils onto the parts. And this is true even in my restoration shop, firearm restoration shop. Before I blue, I always have to cover my hands. I have to clean the parts religiously. But then once they're clean, I can't get any of my oils, finger oils or hand oils, on the metal. So I have to put the gloves on so that I don't transfer those oils to the parts. And it's the same here. All right, so we're cleaning them up. It's actually sizzling a little bit. Tells you how hot this is. Like I said, guys, if you know how to do this, be kind to me because this is my first time. Anxious to see how this works out. All right. The instructions also say that it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold, that you can apply the chemical either way. So we're going to stop right here. So the first one is done. And doing it, because I've never done it before, I made a lot of mistakes. It came out okay. I've got no real objections to how it looks. But I've got the second one in the oven right now, baking off all the impurities. When that's done, I'm going to powder coat that one. And hopefully, using the lessons that I learned from doing this one, we're going to get a much better result. So let's continue the video and I'll show you all the problems I had and all the mistakes that I made. It's working. All right. I'm out near, I've opened the garage door up a little bit because I don't know. So it says you can adjust this to change the spray pattern. I've got to stop that. It's actually the chemical, the powder's coming back into the garage. Well, this is what I've said, guys. If you see something that I'm doing wrong, don't be afraid to share it. Boy, I do know if I get too close to the part with the air hose or the air spray or it literally blows it right back off again. Alright, I'm going to put it in the oven and see what the hell happens. I mean, it's mostly black. but that's about all I can say for it at this point. Okay, so this has a much steeper learning curve than I expected. We're going to find out. Reading the instructions again, you always pick up something new every time you read it. This deflector is optional, it's not required, and it was making a big spray pattern, which for larger parts, I guess, is what you need. But for the small parts, it recommends that you remove this, and what happens is I get a nice straight pattern. So I'm going to do this without the deflector the next time I go through this, and I think we'll get a better coating onto the part directly. Alright, once the part has started to gloss over, and this one is starting to gloss over really nice, it says at this point set the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, so I am going to turn this down. Allow the piece to cure in the oven for the entire 20 minutes. After 20-minute cure, remove the part from the oven and turn the oven off. Once the piece is cooled, you can second coat it. Alright, we've turned it down, and we'll let it go for the entire 20 minutes, and we got about 8 minutes left. The part has made its full cure time. Then the instructions say to open up the door and just let it cool down naturally. So that's what I'm going to do. And it actually looks better than I thought it was going to. So I still think it's going to need a second coat, but we'll see that when we get it out of here. It's way too hot to touch at this point. Gold beans, it looks pretty good. This thing is still really hot, but the excitement's kind of got me wondering here. So I'm going to pull this. I can't touch it. But I do want to see what it looks like. Okay, I can touch the wire. Can't touch the part. So I want to see the other side. Ow, that's hot, hot, hot. It actually looks pretty good. Much better than I thought. I will probably put a second coat on, mostly because I don't have any coverage up in here. This is where I was struggling because that fan was so broad. I think if I do a second coat, I can get this coated a little bit better. And of course, this is the part that's down under the Jeep where all the mud and guck and all that kind of stuff happens. I'm actually very pleased with this. This did come out really nice. All right, let's go ahead and put that second coat on. Same as the first. All right, let's try this again. That's actually much better. Much better. Much better. Much better. Much happier, guys. Getting rid of that deflector made all the difference. Okay, back in the oven. So this is where the biggest and most amateur mistake came. And in some ways it's actually kind of funny. But at the same time, having made that mistake meant that the quality of outcome for the first one wasn't as good as I think it could have been. So we have baked off all the impurities and we're cleaning this again with acetone. So let me explain to you that big mistake. So on that first one, I tried to do everything in my hand. So literally while I was spraying it, I was holding it like this, which was kind of dumb in the whole scheme of things because there wasn't enough hands to go around. What I should have done is hung it, and that's what I'm doing here. So now I'm hanging it so that I don't have to hold the part and the gun at the same time. But, and I blame Eastwood for this a little bit on the instructions, because I literally had to dig to find this because there were some things that weren't making sense to me. And one of the things that wasn't making sense to me is that I was expecting that powder, because of that negative charge, to literally get sucked into the part, and it wasn't. It was just sort of floating around in the atmosphere. And the reason for that, and I didn't realize that, is there's actually a switch. And once you plug this thing in, you have to push the switch while you're coating it. And that is the emitter, that is that charge, negative charge that's going in. I didn't do that. So literally, the coating that got on there was just the coating that attracted to it naturally in the air. At least that's my theory. We're going to find out here in a second. So we're going to do this again. Going to plug in the air to the gun. Going to plug in the unit, and this time, while I'm standing back here spraying it, I'm going to push this button, and hopefully what we're going to see is that powder getting sucked in to the pedal. Let's give it a try. And my other hope is that I don't get the powder in the atmosphere or in the air quite as much, but we're going to find that out pretty quick too. It's working a lot better. Let's give it a try. Let's put it in the oven. That is so much different than the first time. All right, 450 till it begins to gloss over, then we turn it back down to 400 for the balance of the 20 minutes. What an amateur mistake. I learned a lot from this process, and that's the whole point of learning a new skill. You try something once, you find out what went right, what went wrong, and you adapt and correct it from there. This was probably more daunting in my head than it was in reality. Once you sort of understand the steps and sort of progress down through those steps, it all makes more sense, and then you can kind of build on that for your second time or third time. I'm happy with this. All right. If you guys want to see both of them, I will post a close-up of both of them on my Instagram. So if you're not following me over on Instagram, Rust to Resurrection on Instagram, and I'll do a close-up of that when both of the pedals are done. So that'll probably be in the next couple days. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are trying to grow this past 1,000 subs. This is going to be a lot of fun. Fun for me, I hope fun for you guys. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.